Hello and welcome once again on this Monday afternoon. Thank you for joining me. I know it's a bit warm out there, but it's a perfect excuse to sit down, cold drink in your hand and enjoy this show, just giving some crafty inspiration. So there might be some new people out there. So first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Simon Williamson and I'm here from AVAGO-INK Designs, and I'm here to give you some weekly inspiration with our lovely products. That if you haven't got our products, I'm sure you could use your own stamps and your inspiration at home, but it's just a bit of a creative space for us all to learn from. So if you don't already follow us on Facebook, give us a like and subscribe, and that can keep you informed with any news or any kind of upcoming events that we're going to be doing with AVAGO. And on that note, we've just passed 700 followers, so if you know anybody else that'd like to join the page, share that information with them. That'd be brilliant for us to do that. So today we're going to have some really good fun with these kind of products, but let's say hello to the people that have joined first of all. So we've got on quite a few platforms now. So we've got some people on Facebook and we're on YouTube, so hi to everybody. If you've got any questions as we go along, just put QQQ and I can answer them as we go. So I can see people are joining now across there. So any questions, just like I say, put them on and I'll pick them up as we're going along. So today we've got the QR code. So just so I'll just introduce you to the screens. So we've got the QR code, which is just at this bottom corner down here at the other side. You see the little QR HTCN logo. If you give that a scan, and that'll take you to the schedule for the actual upcoming programs. We've also going to be having a shop code on today as well. And then that will give you, oh, hi Joanne, I can see you've joined there. Hi Joanne. So the shop code today, I forgot which one it is. I will introduce that when I get the information. But that will take to all the products that I'm using today. So if you want to go back and quickly shop those, we can do that with no issues. So let's get on with our first demonstration then. So the first one I've got today, a little bit different I thought, is I always emboss in black. So I thought, let's have a bit of a go embossing in white. And it gives you a bit of a different effect. And I'll be using these with those really nice watercolour pens that I've just launched from Thirsty Brush. Give you a really good effect. So let's get started with this one. So really simple. I've got myself a piece of watercolour card. I'll just measure it for size so you know what I'm using. So this one's 7.5 by 5. So a kind of a nice kind of scene size to get everything on that we want to for the detail. So I'm going to bring up my stamping platform first of all. Just going to hold that in the corner so I know what it is. And I'm going to bring in our lovely stamps now. So I'm going to play around with the monsters and the actual scenery stamps. Got some lovely characters in here. Let's have that big one on there, I think, somewhere. Let's go in the middle for now. We've got our little one with a big eye. So they're the three rounder ones. We've also got this one with the funny eyes. I think we should put him there for a change. That's about that one. It's a really big, bold characters. So I'm going to get these stamped first, and then we're going to go back and we're going to put our planets into place afterwards. So let's pick that up. And I'm going to be using a sticky embossing pad for this. Just give that a really good covering in that ink. I'm going to do it twice this as well, because it's a bit warm in the studio today and I don't want to miss any of the areas that I want embossing. So go over that one more time. And really push that into there. If little bits miss, it doesn't matter, but it's textured card anyway, so you might get little areas. But you're still going to get the gist of these monsters and look brilliant. So I'm just going to bring in a piece of card. Yep. Just so we can put our embossing powder. I'm going to be using this Ice Ink white one. I haven't got a lot of this left, so that's why I'm doing it in 2 sections today. So we can make sure we get this adhered. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on. Cover our little characters over. If you miss any areas, you can always go back and put the powder on. As long as you've not heat set it, you're fine. So I'm just going to give that a tip. Just give that a bit of a knot there, you can see that. And if you've got any areas that you just want to go and clear up, you can just use a little brush and just brush those areas away that you don't want to stick. So a little bit around here. That's fine. Just tap that loose dust off. That's perfect. So I'm going to change this bit first, and then we'll do the planets after. So I'm just going to put this dust back in here so we don't lose this precious white powder. So I haven't got much of it left, I've got to be honest with you. And I'm just going to use our heat gun. So this is going to be quite hard to see at first because we're doing white on white, but it'll really jump when we put the colours on in a second. So I'm just going to just gently go over that until it starts changing. Here we go. And it goes like a gloss as well, so I don't know if you can pick that up. I'll just hold it a little bit different so it's a bit easier. I'm just following him round until all that powder's changed. Just down at the side is horn. It's a fantastic set, this. As you can see there on the graphics, that it's $32.99, but you get those big characters, the 6 ones, and they all come with the corresponding dies as well. It's not as powerful, this heat gun, which is better because it doesn't warp your cardstock as much. It'll just take a little bit longer to turn. So I'm just going through there, and then we're on the last one. Start disappearing now, aren't they? We're bringing them back in a second, don't you worry. Just going on this last little bit. I'm just going to give it a quick blast over the top, make sure I've got all those areas that I need. There you go. So I'm not sure if you can pick up that already, but we've got our little characters on there. I don't think if I just tilt it forward, you can see they're at the bottom there. Quite hard to see in the white, but I can see them from this angle. And now I'm going to go back in with these lovely planets we've got. You can see we've got quite a selection of different sizes. So I'm just going to use these to break up this skyline. I'm not bothered if they're on the page or off the page. I want to break it up a little bit. So let's get them scattered around a little bit up at this top section. I think we'll have that smaller one there. And then we'll have one just over there. Purposely leaving this area here open because that's where we're going to put a sentiment at the end. So we'll just change our monsters over. Bring that magnet down a little bit. Make sure we pick them up. And then we're going to go in again with this embossing pad. So what's everybody doing today then? It's some lovely weather, isn't it? I know here in Wakefield, the crafters have got the door open. So they're just having a bit of fun outside. And it's brilliant, this little stamp set as well, because we've not connected the planets, so you can play around with where you want to put them. I love the moon landing scene as well. Really creative, but we're not going to use it on this demonstration. Push that down. I can see that's really grabbed on the inks, that's good. So I'm going to bring in that piece of card again. I'm just going to scatter this powder across the planets at the top. Same as we did for the monsters. Just make sure we've got a good covering all of those. Tap that off. Any little areas that you want to clean up, you know you've got your brush, you can just brush that off. You can use an anti-static bag, but I do find on watercolour card, it doesn't always, because it's grained, it doesn't always pick it up. So I just find it's better to go around with a little brush around there to get the detail out. Just get this powder in the container. That can go under there. And we'll bring the heat gun back in. Just going to hold it up so it might change a little bit faster for us. There we go. So just going around these planets. I put it on turbo setting now, so it's a bit loud, I'm afraid. So just go quickly onto these ones. Just doing this last one here. Brilliant. Okay, so let's move this out of the way because I don't want to get this. I want to have a bit of fun now with all this, don't we? So we've got our lovely panel there designed, and we've got our little planets towards the top. We've got our little critters at the bottom. So you should be able to just start to pick that out with the glossy areas. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to actually make it pop. So we're going to add some water to this. So I'm just going to bring my brush in. And what I want to do is add a bit of water to wet the card over these planets at the top. And then round to these little crazy monsters. But I'm going to actually put the water around them, not over them. So I'm just going to take that water down, just wet that around, and then that way we can get a really good background going on without it drowning our little characters too much. It'll also give us a crisp line where as colours change. So just taking that along there. Just a little bit down here. It's quite warm in here today as well, so I might have to put some more water on afterwards, but we'll see how we get on. You'll see in a second, the reason I'm wetting this is that it actually merges the colours a little bit easier. Put some more up there. Don't worry if it starts to curl a little bit because it'll straighten out when we heat it. Okay. So I'm going to be using these, and these are the watercolour pens. They're from Thirsty Brush, so they are on the website. I did add them to the show. So if you want to search for these, they're the Thirsty Brush watercolour pens, or like I say, you can use the actual QR code at the bottom of the screen that says Shop 26, and that'll take you to these products afterwards. But they're really good. These are very versatile. You can take them with you, and you don't need water. You don't have to use water with them. You can use them neat, and that's what we're going to kind of do today. So I'm going to use the purple, I'm going to use the green, and maybe a bit of the orange. And that's just so we can get a little bit of the crazy scene going on. So let's use the purple at the top. See, if I brush these across now, that water is going to help it fill up. If we need more water, we can take the pen straight to the water, and it'll help that pigment come down. I'm just going to flood that down. Bring that down my page a little bit more. Try not to keep it too uniform as well. A little bit of irregularity will help the colours mould a little bit better. I'm going to change that over. I'm just going to add a bit of water to that joining line to help it a little bit more. And let's change that now to this orange. And I like this kind of like clash that it does. I think it looks very mystical, this sky. I'll bring that across. Soften that down a little bit, move a bit more water. Just go around these little monsters as we go in. And look at this kind of bleed that you get where the purple goes into the orange. You get like a red line. You can add to that and you can push it up. You can bring it back down, whichever you prefer to do. Soften that line a little bit more going down here. I'm going to change into the green now. There's no rules with this, but this is kind of like an alien kind of landing, isn't it? So there's no kind of rules on colours. I'm going to put some more water on this cardstock so it's dried up already. Just going to sweat underneath these monsters as if this is like where the grass would be. Here we go, and let's go back in with this green one now. Let's just bring that colour up to where that embossing is. dragging that along. It's drying up faster than I can keep up this. That was some little pigment on there. Let's get a little bit more darker going on. Just round his body at this side. I'm just going to just use some of that water to take that up a little bit into that orange. Almost like kind of an uneven landscape in the background, so they've got something to sit on really. So we're grounding them a little bit. And I think I'm just going to go back in with the purple, and we'll just kind of add a little bit more of that orange and purple tone lower down, just to break them up a little bit more. Around his little horns. You should be able to see his little characters starting to appear then now. Just round there. Around his little eyeballs. It's quite a messy one, this one, so I like it. It gives you a bit of a different effect every time you do it. And then we'll just soften that out with a plain paintbrush, just so we can just pull them kind of edges a little bit more. You get a little bit more working time as well with this when it's not as warm, I've got to be honest. So we'll just pull them colours down. Into that side. Okay, and we're going to give that a quick blast with a heat gun now, just to make sure that we've got that water completely dry. Let's look at some new comments. So we've got, hi Sue, hi Joanne, hi Hilary, Amanda, Sam and everyone. It's been on since I managed to watch a live show. It's nice that you can join us, Amanda. I know that sometimes life gets in the way, but you know where we're going to be when you need us. Just going to dry that from the back as well. And then we're going to bring his pens back in. So I've got a few other colours here. So we've got the red and we've got a different green as well. So what we can do now is we can go in with them a little bit neater, and we can just follow the little heads around, and this will actually make them pop out a little bit more from the picture. So I'm just going to take them in like a one tone at the moment, but we can go back in and add more definition when we need to. I love these tips though on these pens, they're just like glide. Just push that in there. And that white embossing starts to really pop now, doesn't it? And you can see it's all coming through. Underneath his eye. A little bit different as well, especially if you want to have a project to do on the go. You don't have to take as much with you with these. That's our little red monster. Let's swap to the darker green one. So, just pushing that pigment into those little areas. It's like a barrier with the embossing line, so it does help you. Just going to activate that so the liquid comes out a little bit more. Drag that down. Paint up to your embossing line. Let's get his little hand in there. Right towards the tip there. And I think we're also going to use this green for his little teeth here, so let's just take those over there. Let's give him a bit of a green horn on his little eyelid there, just to break him up a little bit. Let's get this centre one done now. Let's go for a purple on this one, I think. Nice deep colour. We all crafting at home then. Oh, Roxley says, sorry, I'm lost track of time sorting stuff out. Amanda says, it's warm in Buckinghamshire. It's warm everywhere, isn't it? Don't complain though. I'd rather it be warm than us not have this lovely weather. Sticking that into the top of his head. Down there. And then just into his little hand that goes into his mouth area. And then we just need to lighten up some of these other little areas. So we've got some of this orange. Let's give him some orange teeth. And he can have orange eyes, this one. Just put a little bit of orange under this eye to bring it out a bit more. Just have some orange teeth as well. I love how as well altering the colour is going to give you a completely different look to them. I'll give him a big red tongue. Let's just move him to one side. I'm going to give that a blast with the heat gun again, just to make sure we get that to dry. And just straight from the back as well. Just I've added quite a lot of water today, but so the heat, it's just soaked through. So I'm just going to make sure we dry that so it doesn't wrinkle too much. That's that one. And we'll just leave that up there just to be dry in a second. I'm going to wipe my desk area so I don't get this pigment on as a card base. So I've got a lovely card base now to mat this onto. A little bit bigger than this blank that we've used. So this is 8 by 5.5, and this is going to give us a lovely kind of border around the edge there when we mount it on. And I thought, what better thing to do than use the papers that come in the Graffiti Monster pack. So there's some lovely kind of colours going on in here. So let's get some colours that go well with this kind of design that we've done today. I think this stripy one, actually. I think that that's going to really pop on there. So let's use that one, I think. So it should be the same width, I believe. Yeah. So if I use my tape runner for this, I always tend to level it from the actual hinge of the card, and then I can cut at the other area easier. So if we just level that out at the top, you can push that down. That's going to work really well. And when you flip this over, you've got an easy line to follow then with your scissors to actually take the excess off. Just saves you having to cut it before you stick it that way. We'll just give that a chop. I love these paper pads as well. I'm so proud that we've done these in the AVAGO collection. It's our first paper pads that we've done. Look at that. So I'm just going to just give that a bit of a fold into the position we need it. And I kind of think it just needs a bit of an edge to break it up. You can see it just kind of gets lost a little bit. So I'm just going to use my black ink pad. And I'm just going to just dust around the edge of that, just to give it a little bit of an edge, really, so it doesn't get too lost. Don't want them to be floating, do we? There you go. You could also as well tear it. That would be a good effect on the edge. So we're going to get that mounted onto our card blank. So let's get some sticky pads to raise it up a little bit. And then we'll get our sentiment on to finish it off. I've had to pre-prepare my little sticky things because I didn't want to leave earlier on. I think they melted on. Let's pop that on there. I can tend to do it as well a little bit off angle, because I like to give you a little bit of a bigger glimpse of this kind of lovely paper at the bottom. So that's our lovely card, and we just need a sentiment now to go on there. So let's get our sentiment sheets that we get. So we've got quite a few in here to choose from. I think it needs to be a longer one, so let's go for I think we'll go for the surprise, and that's a really good one for this one. So let's go for the surprise one. Let's bring up the platform again. Just get a piece of card. Just move these planets. Pick up that surprise there. I'm going to do it in black as well, because I think it just needs to be a crisp colour for this bit. It'll really stand out. One more press to make sure we get a nice crisp image on that one. And then I'm going to do a bit of a chop around this. I'll do it freehand. You could use a stencil that comes with the sentiments as well if you wanted to trace around, like I did on this original one. You can say use a speech bubble. But I just want to show you, if you want to just do a bit of freehand cutting, you don't have to be precise, and it'll actually work really well. So we chop into this one. Just make a bit of an abstract shape. And it'll really go well with the quirkiness of these little characters. So the only thing I'm going to do to this now is I'm going to actually edge the edge of this the same as we did the border on our artwork, and that'll just bring it back in a little bit. So just take the edge off a little bit of these white lines. And then I'll just get a little foam pad, just to give it a little bit more height on the back of this card. And I think we're going to go surprise just there in the centre of our card. And that's our first one. It's a little bit abstract, this one. And obviously, if you're a little bit faster with the water, you can get them colours to merge a little bit easier than it was today. It was just a little bit warm in studio for it to blend as much as I'd like to. But I still think it's a really cool card, that one. But sixes into it with the colours, really kind of retro, kind of bright in your face colours, which is brilliant for summer, I've got to say. What we're going to do now is we're going to give you some lovely inspiration for the rest of the AVAGO collection. I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes for his next demo. See you in a second. Hi, my name's Simon Williamson. I'm the guest demonstrator for AVAGO-INK Designs. AVAGO-INKs it's basically images that we can put together so anybody can have a go. I think I love the most about crafting is it can just give you time out in your own head. You can just down tools, not think about your mobile phone, and just enjoy what you're going to do. Create a project and be proud of what you've made. My inspiration comes really from lots of sources. I love looking at current trends. I like looking through the internet. I like looking at what other people make. And I think truly inspiration comes from picking bits out of everything you see, pull it all together, and make it something that you can do with your skills. AVAGO products, we've got 3 collections out at the moment. We've got as dinosaur range, as farmyard range, and as little owl collection. And the main crux of the actual design is that there's a big image there, little characters you can play around, have fun, and there's always some puns in there as well, so you can liven up the card and make it a bit humorous for everybody. I think if you're thinking about trying one of our products, don't be afraid. Just buy any of the kits that you feel like you want to, and you'll always create a really good card from there. There's some good characters, good sentiments, and some really fun images in there. So just grab one and have a go. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that inspiration. It just shows you, doesn't it, how versatile the products from the AVAGO collection are. So I can see that people are enjoying that last demo, which is good. I hope that just give you a bit of a different technique with the embossing, as I always think we do it in black, and I think sometimes do it in white gives a completely different look as well. So the next character we're going to play around with is the big monster, and I just wanted to show you don't have to use this monster in the entirety to get a fun card. Look at that. Look how funny he is, just creeping in on that corner there. just to kind of like lift up the space a little bit. And it just shows you the backing papers. And then that die makes a really fast, simple card, which is going to be easy for you to replicate at home. Let's have a go with this one. So the first thing we're going to do is make our monster. We're going to get our die cutting stuff into place. I'm going to move that heat gun out of the way. So I'm going to first of all cut out the back of him, which is this outline die. And this is a really big size. It's really good. I'll show you, in fact, how big it is in case you're thinking about getting this collection. So it's almost 5 inches wide by 7. So it'd look brilliant on a 5x7 card, or if you was framing on an A5 card, it'd really take the centre image of that one brilliantly. So let's cut out in black first of all. And that's going to give our base to create our friendly monster. It also makes a brilliant picture frame, this one. And I think it's such a bargain for the $19.99. It's so versatile and so big. You can have so much fun with it. So that's our base layer to start off with. So let's put that up there. Move that to one side. And then I think we should go for a colourful monster today, because it's so warm the weather. Let's go for some of these lovely colours. And these are from the graffiti pack as well. They're like a little bit of an ombre effect, so they go through different colours. So I think we'll go for this one today. It's like a blue to pink to yellow, like a 3-tone effect. So let's get that one out. And just look at this next die. Look how big that is. That's going to give a really good focal point to any card, isn't it? And in this aperture here as well, you could put a photo of somebody, you could put a message, you could even cut it so that it cuts into the card. And then when you open the card, the message is inside. Just really good as well. So quite versatile for you. So let's line that up where we want it. So I think we'll do it there. Then we're going to get a bit of all 3 colours. I'm just going to chop off this excess so we can run it through the die machine. Keep these scraps as well so they come in handy. And let's run that through. I love to cut all these, then we can build a design afterwards. And they're so easy as well. You could have great fun with the kids cutting all these out in different colours and assembling them together as a family, making your own kind of monsters. So that's his body. Save these as well, because these are useful pieces for some other projects. And then we need to do his eyes and his teeth and his horns. So they all come on these like kind of plates to connect them so you don't lose them. And his teeth come connected as well. So you've not got that fear of losing a die and then not being able to use it. So teeth are there, which I'm going to do in the white. Just chop that little bit down. And then let's do these in, do them in white as well, actually, make it pop. Pop that on there. And we'll run that through. So what we're saying on there. So Julie says, hi Simon, I'll switch from Facebook to YouTube. Love that card. I'm busy with Christmas at the moment. Christmas, it's too hot, Julia. No, it's starting, isn't it? It's going to be Christmas soon. Got to get prepared. Now let's take his little teeth out. That's his top deck, and that's his bottom deck. We probably won't use his bottom deck today, so we'll keep him because I can use him on another project. And then here, we've got his little eyeballs and his horns. Let's get my pokey tool. You could play around with doing these in colours as well if you wanted to. I just like how the white really pops. So I'm just going to cut his eyeballs one more time in some darker ones. Just use this scrap here. So this larger circle here is what I kind of like doing the black, and then it'll make his eye pop. If I just bring that in, you can see. So that gives you like the background to make his eye stand out. So you could do it the opposite way and have a black pupil and a white, or you could do it in any colour combination. But for this one, because I'm using white, I'm just going to make sure I cut them out as well. Let's pop them on there. And let's run that through. So Vauxhall says, sorry, got to go, we'll have to catch up later. Not to worry, it's always available. If you ever need to watch it back, here we go. And we've got our little eyeballs there. Let's move that to one side. Let's build up our character and then we can position him where we want to on the card. So first of all, I'm going to put his little teeth in. I'm going to do that by just applying the back of this. So I'm going to turn this over and put a little line of glue here. And then we can put his teeth just from the back. That little bit of a push to make sure it grabs well. And I'm going to put some glue on the back of this then. I'm not going to bother gluing this bit because I'm not going to be using it. I'm going to be chopping into the card later. So let's pop that onto the black layer that we've chopped. Look at that starting to pop already. Look how vibrant them colours are. Give that a good push down. And then let's build him up. We've got little horns here. And they just go over the kind of mat on top of the shape so you don't get them back to front. Get that bit of glue off. I love these, I've got to say. And when we designed it, these were where his eyes go. You see they've got little kind of bumps there, but I think they look like his little ears, so you can choose where you put these eyes. So I'm going to put mine in the centre there, I think, today. And I like it when they're a bit wobbly as well. I don't think they need to be even. Let's put one up there. And then we'll put this one a little bit lower. Make him a bit funny. And then we've got his little, the white of his eye. Let's have that one going up. Look how fast this is coming together, it's brilliant. And you know, like kids as well, they can cut all these colours out and horns and like build a monster. I'm going to have this one going down, look. There you go. So give that a good push down. You don't need to do too much for this. I've just got a simple card blank, which is 5x7, really good size. Now let's bring in some of the pattern papers. I think we'll go for this one actually. I think this one will go with these colours really well. Really break it up. So I need to just cut this down a little bit. So if that was 5x7, I need to do this 4.5 by 6.5. I've just forgot where I've put my cutter a second. Here it is. Let's bring that up. So I said 4.5. So let's do that one there. And then this ruler pulls out. 1 week. There we go. And let me just check that. I think I said I needed 6.5. So let's just chop that down to 6.5. And I love how this paper has all the colours of these collections in. I love how it works together, which is brilliant. So let's get, I'm going to get the tape runner on this one. I'm not going to edge it because I think the black border works brilliantly to do that. It gives it a proper crisp border going all the way around. And then what I've got for the sentiment, so I'm going to work backwards on this one. I'm going to use a scrap of this card. I'm going to cut a square out, put my sentiment on there, and then I can work out where the monster goes afterwards. And then you know you've got enough room for everything. So let's get this little square chopped out. And I've tried to choose an area, you can see on this paper that's not as fussy, so it's a little bit more open, and then your sentiment's going to stand out a little bit more. I like these little sparkler kind of glitter-esque kind of bits at the bottom. Let's pop that there. Let's run that through. Move that to that side, so I don't need that now. I'm going to bring up the stamping platform, and we're just going to get a nice sentiment to go in here now. So, got quite a few really, but I think I'm going to go for have a fantastic day. And I think that's going to fit really nicely in the middle of that kind of like square that we've cut for it. So let's do that in black as well, just so we get a nice solid sentiment that pops. That's that one. Bring that out. And I've got somewhere a scrap of black card. Let me just have a look for it. Just move this out of the way. Here we go. So I'm just going to chop a little bit of this off. I'm going to freehand cut this, but I just want to give it a little bit of a black border so it brings the sentiment back out. And the black will make it really pop. So let's use the roller on this one. Pop that just towards the edge. And I can just nip round this one with the scissors, just to give it a little bit of a black border, just to make it pop a little bit more for us. You could emboss this as well, that'd look nice. It'd give it a little bit more texture if you embossed it. There we go. So now we can start assembling this card. So if you just move all that card off there that we don't need. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put our little sentiment where we want it. So I'm going to put it up here in this top corner, just there. I'm going to get a foam pad on that to raise it up a little bit more. Pop it at an angle there. And then can we decide then where we want this? So we might want him to come in up from the bottom or from the corner, or we can even come down from the top. Really up to you. I think I'm going to put him down this way because I think it works really well that way. So let's get a few foam pads towards the top of him. Let's see if we can get these off the back over here. And then you can position him where you want. So I'm going to put him just there, look. Push him down. And then we can turn this over. And we can use this then as a guide to cut where the card blank finishes. So you can see, a bit hard for you to see on black, but if you put that on there, it gives you a lovely kind of like line to follow when you're cutting out. So if I just use the scissors, just going to follow that card blank edge all the way around. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of wet glue just in that corner. And then you can just push that down so it's more secure. And there we go. Look how easy that was. And I think kids are going to have great fun replicating that card and building your own monster. Move its eyes around, change its colours, take its teeth out, give him one tooth. You could do so much with it. It's really versatile. I can see in the comments, kids would love building a monster with this die. It's fun, isn't it? But it's not just kids in it, but adults like to have fun as well. So that's our two cards that we've done today. Love this. It's kind of like kind of really just bold design. And this one is like, it's almost like a wax resist the way it comes through. But I just think they're really fun cards. And I hope that's giving you some lovely inspiration. So in case you joined in a little bit later today, all the products are available on the website, as you can see there. There's a really great collection and there's lots of versatility within that. And I'm sure you're going to have great fun at crafting your own cards. I'm next going to be on Create and Craft on the 19th of June. So if you can join me for those shows, that'd be really appreciated. We've got a craft extra at 2 o'clock and then the Create and Craft at 7 p.m. So hopefully you can join me next Monday on the 19th for that. And then apart from that, I will be back in this studio on the 3rd of July because Tony and Tim are going on the cruise, aren't they, with Teresa. So it'll be really great fun for them, but I won't be in until the 3rd of July. So that's when I'm next back in studio. So please join me on Create and Craft. But until then, have a great time and keep crafting. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.